to the different platforms. It takes a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just give them a second. I can't play our intro because they're having problems with the interface on videos. So we'll just give it a few minutes, or a couple of minutes. Yeah, it's still not working. Right on, man. It's a long time no see.
Yeah, long time no talk to.
I know, man.
You're a busy geek.
It's just been like, that was what? And the crazy thing is, it's been what, a year? Because that day was February the 10th.
Yeah, so almost exactly.
That was crazy. You were like, I'm in town. I'm like, hey, man, you know a DJ?
Yeah.
That was a pretty cool get together, though.
It was good.
Yeah,
it was an amazing event, actually, for something that was put together so quickly.
Yeah, it was. It really was. Yeah. I got to pull that video back up and go through it. I think it was about 3 or 4 hours long. Yeah, that was powerful, man. All those women got up there and started talking. Yeah, let's see. We got 21 people. Huh?
We need more of that.
Yeah, I know we do. Yeah, I know. I saw your post too that you said you got a lot to say, so I'm anxious to get started with that. Let me just roll it in. We got 27 people in the house. Welcome everybody. We got our beloved, beautiful, brave brother Eddie Hinsley's in the house, man, and he's been living it for as long as I've known him, which is going back probably about 5 years. Yeah, I think everybody does know. Yeah, you just been out there doing it. I mean, it's interesting, especially now with all these different suggestive programming frequencies being put out there,
getting stronger.
Yeah, and it's so relevant to me to see someone like yourself who, we talk about everything, and I guess we have to through this transition, but it's so important to walk the talk, and I feel like we've moved into a phase where you just walk the walk, and yeah. You've actually, to me, I mean, you've been inspiring to me. You've been out there just doing it. You make no bones about it. You've made this a lifestyle choice a long time ago, and here we are in 2021, coming out of the 2020 vision. We got whatever you want to call that. I guess we'll just call it a COVID-19 quarantines, mask, ordinances, crazy things happening. You got an election, you got this, you got that. You got a lot of a lot of distraction. And distraction, So I mean, but it's interesting because of how I think it's interesting how it's kind of manifested, I guess, or played out in what we call the light worker starseed way shower circles. It's not concerning to me because I know we all have to in our individual journeys, things got to come up and then we got to face them. And sometimes there's like a pendulum action, back and forth. But I'm not really sure what you had in mind today, but I love the fact that you said I got a lot to say. So I'm going to hand it over to you, brother. Thank you for coming in and sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence.
Well, thank you. One of the things that I know you and I will agree on is I was talking to my friend Will Gray about life. We came into this lifetime focused on not knowing, and then all of a sudden it was like a smack in the face with this, like, wait, what is this? Wait, who am I? Wait, what is this push and pull that I'm feeling? That we all kind of feel, especially when we're in our teens, right? We feel this going through puberty, and then all of a sudden it's like you got your friends that are, we're gonna focus on education and go to college or do something with my life, and then the other ones that are like, hey, we're gonna focus on some partying and this, that, and some got into heavy drugs and some got into my friends. A whole group of my friends got into stealing cars and robbing houses and selling drugs and guns. And it was like, after a while, I felt putting myself to the side. I felt like, what is this? Like, I feel like I'm being given a choice. Like, I can go hang out with these kids that want to do something and educate themselves and have a life, or these other ones that just want to create some chaos and have some fun as they thought it was, and it was for maybe a little bit, but then it caused it's like that you got to deal with the consequences of that type of lifestyle. And unfortunately I was able to jump out of that, making that choice. But even deeper, I felt the the angels and the demons, like,
Right.
like this, come this way, come this way. I felt it. And I was like, this is, what is this? What's going on? And so I decided, I'm going to explore whatever it is that is pulling me in the other way. So for me, it started with the Bible, with Christian Bible. And I was really depressed, and I went outside. I couldn't sleep for days. I had this voice in my head that was telling me your life's over. You were on the right track with the losers, because you were going in that direction anyway, and now you have nothing, and now you're nothing, and so on and so on. And so I stepped outside one night because this voice was keeping me awake. I mean, it was like pounding on me. And I took the Bible. Somebody gave me a Bible. I even put my name on it. And so I went outside, and I started asking questions, and then I would open it up, and there would be the answer.
Right.
And I go, okay, there's something to this. And so I did it again and again and again, and I kept finding the answer every time I had a question. But I didn't go, oh, Jesus is, like listening. Like, I didn't feel that. I felt there was even something more to that, And so the first time I saw someone give me a tarot reading, I went, that's it. It's the same thing. It's the same energy that I'm directing into this. And so I'm getting getting answers. Diving down that rabbit hole. I started doing that without tarot, without a Bible, without anything, and started asking questions and letting things unfold in life. And I went, wow, who's doing this?
Right.
Who is God looking after me? Because there's times where things work out and that are not in my favor, but the lessons are there. And I'm going, okay, that doesn't seem like the kind of God that is going to put me in that position. Maybe that's the devil. I don't know if the devil exists. I don't know anything. So I'm just in exploration.
Right.
So but it all caught my curiosity. So after a while, I was like, I don't have a tribe. I don't know. I had no idea about the people that were doing work already at that point. That was what, 26, 27 years ago.
Geez, how old were you?
I was 18, 19 years old.
Wow. Powerful.
Yeah. So it just kind of got me that there was something that was going on and I needed to figure it out. So I said, I need to find my tribe. And sure enough, here comes tribe knocking. I went, okay, that's interesting. And it just kept growing from there, because now I have there was my first mentor. Her name is Brave Eagle Soaring. And Brave Eagle has been such a powerful influence on my life. And this is a woman named Brave Eagle Soaring. It's not a man. This is a woman. So what I had come to understand later on was all my mentors at the beginning were all women.
Wow.
And I was really impressed with the fact that, because I've always had this feeling inside of me that women were really powerful. I just didn't understand how.
Right.
And it was really intimidating that even being around women that didn't know their power, I could feel their power.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand it. Now, with the work that I've done and understanding the power of the feminine, the divine feminine, and not so divine feminine as well.
Right.
That either way it swings on that pendulum, it is very powerful. When my ex-wife used to get mad at me, and when she would talk, it was in an aggressive tone, but it wasn't a high-pitched tone. She would just talk to me, but it was, the anger that was inside of her when she was speaking to me would make my eardrums rattle.
Wow. And
I would go, you gotta calm down. You gotta, and she's going, I'm not talking that loud. I'm like, you gotta know, my eardrums are rattling. And she's like, she didn't understand her power.
Yeah.
So, that kind of led me into understanding, and later on finding out about this time that we've coming into the time of the divine feminine, and how it affected, it will and is affecting us now in this moment, and how it has affected me personally, and the things that I hadn't accepted about my look, I already considered myself androgynous at the time,
Hmm.
but I didn't understand that I was still projecting my emotions out of in anger versus true expression.
Right.
You know, to be sad or to cry or to feel a certain type of love in a certain way that comes from the feminine.
Yeah.
And well, my teachers taught me. They taught me that. They taught me how to submit to what is within, the power that lies within that. And also in that, I found the power that lies within the divine masculine,
Mm.
because I didn't know that power either.
Yeah.
So the power of the mother and the power of the father, eventually they taught this energy taught me. Nobody taught me. The energy taught me.
Right.
You know, and that's, I think, for most of us that are on this path, there is not one teacher that will give us an answer. They won't give us those answers. They won't talk to us about this. Unless you need to, they need to tell you and to point towards the way.
Right.
You know, that's the only time that they'll go, well, it's kind of like this, and if you do this, then they'll give you those kind of answers, but they won't give you the direct answer, because it's not to be told, it's to be experienced.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very true. Even if they tell you, you still, it still doesn't register, I guess, or integrate till you do experience it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I realized that at that time I was playing this game, this cosmic game, on level hard already. And now what I feel is, for those of us that have been doing the work, we're jumping to advanced levels. We're going into, and when I say hard, that would be like beginner, novice, somewhat, in the middle, and then you got hard, and then you got advanced, and so on. So the language changes as well. So because it felt hard, it felt very difficult. In that word hard, very difficult. But now I'm playing on pro.
Right.
And when you are on this path and you start playing on, even when you start getting to the more difficult levels, with difficult challenges comes more reward. Yeah. And sometimes the reward is just knowledge itself. In the Emerald Tablets, they talk about, when you come to the gates of wisdom, that you will be met by the dark force by the dark one. And when you face that dark force, it reminds me of the never ending story, when he had to face the mirror. He had to go into the mirror to go, to learn truth.
Yeah.
And that dark force is yourself.
Yeah.
You have to face your own darkness. And I'm not saying your own darkness as my darkness, things that I've done in my past, or so on and so on, but as dark as I could be, as dark as any of us could be.
Yeah.
And that is it goes, the mind goes, I've never murdered anybody, I've never raped anybody, or I've never done heinous things like that in my life. And the dark force says, yes, you have. Yes, you have. You think this is your only lifetime. You think this is the only thing that you've ever done. And you start seeing the little images of, being an alligator, or, and tearing another animal to shreds, or all these things. And you go, well, you start to understand that what we would call like heinous or vicious or this or that, and understanding the nature of how everything is relative, from the light to the dark, pushing through the darkness, seeing that little beam of light from far away, going, how come that light is so far away? But not realizing that it's inside. We're looking inside of ourselves, seeing that little speck of light going, that's you in all the darkness. But the closer you get to the light, the bigger it gets. And realizing, oh, I am that. I am, that whole I am that I am.
Yeah.
And without the darkness, I could not be the light. It's, in the universal physical, what's been created, atoms and molecules and all this stuff. It's like, it's so beyond us as humans. We can talk about it. We can even learn it in school, but to experience it.
Yeah. Yeah.
To experience yourself being that you are the universe, that you are, in that consciousness, you know what I mean? To go into universal consciousness is, there is no, I don't exist anymore. There is no I. You realize this is just the puppet, the meat suit. And you go, oh, what a blessing that I've been able to come here into this, these atoms and molecules and flesh and bone, and what a tremendous gift to experience this and to be present with it. Because at those times we start to, like I said, these are the gifts. These are the gifts that we're given.
It's a privilege. It's a privilege, right?
It's an honor.
I love what you said about, I never did that. Like, even if we don't look at past incarnations, like, it's all energy, right? I mean, so like somebody may physically, let's just say, murder someone, or like you said, or rape somebody. But just because there's not a physical, literal, situation, it doesn't mean that I haven't done it energetically. I mean, we know about emotional abuse, we know about, what is it called? Gaslighting, or, just different things. I mean, energetically.
Yeah.
And it may be true. Maybe you or me or somebody else didn't do this energetically, but there is a great value in, identifying or claiming or admitting that we've actually participated in some energetic darkness that energetically is the same thing as some things that get played out physically, manifested, it's the same thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's where it comes down to understanding as the simple biomechanical being that I have a choice. I have a choice in my walk. I have a choice in what I do, how I think, what I choose to believe in, how I choose to react, how I choose to respond, and treat it like, the game that it is. As if I want to be whatever I consider to be better, to keep learning, to keep growing, then I have to accept that the mistakes that I make, and not keep making the same mistakes, and also learn what it is that I can do better, how I can be better, what I can say better, how I can respond better. Because if everything is God, then I have to understand when I'm going, this is Todd Medina. I go, well, that is one dimension that I'm looking into. Yeah. When I look into the eyes of God and I say, hey, God, and I'm looking at you, that I'm looking at God, the God that is within me. When I'm looking at every human, every blade of grass, the air, the wind, the sky, the stars, and when I can see God in all things, that's when I can really truly connect with that universal mind, with that universal being that we are, and even we can do it as an individual for the individual's experience, or I can just float away and become nothing and become part of that universal mind, and either way it has purpose, and I can feel the purpose of that, and I want to give examples, and for me, this is not something that. And I want to express that if this is true magic, people, that we have to understand that as long as we keep walking in that direction, that things will the mysteries and the weirdest things that will happen in your life. And I know a lot of you understand and experience that yourselves. But when things manifest physically, right? Now this is called a amethyst cacosonite, also known as a super 7 and a melody stone. But that, if you look at that, and you look at that image, and everybody can see it, what's in that image. How was this created? How was that created naturally? How is that being inside this stone, and how did it get to me? Why? And if you look right there, you see the little serpent around her neck.
Oh, wow.
You
Yeah,
see
I
it?
do see. Yeah, I do see. Let me blow that up for everybody. Hang on.
Yeah.
Wow, that is trippy. Oh, wow. You can actually see the face very clearly.
Yeah, the face of the snake really
Yeah,
clear.
yeah. Wow, that's trippy.
This is not man-made. This somebody, they found a crystal, they cut it, and this is what was the result of that.
Wow.
You know, and I have other relics, some that I won't
I'm
show.
just curious, what kind of energy or experiences or exchanges have you had with that particular crystal?
This one, from what understanding that the Druids come from, there are certain Druids that come from the Pleiades. And I've had conversations with other people as they've seen this, and they go, "Well, do you know about the Druids from the Pleiades?" And I go, "No, I don't." They're like, "Well, I'm one of the Druids from the Pleiades." And I go, "Oh, that's well, you can fill me in on these beings and the stories of what the Druids actually did for and are doing for the cosmos, because they are the Pleiadians are way more advanced and in their structuring of how they participate in the universe, and they're not that far. The Pleiades is not that far away. It's actually it's in the Milky Way galaxy. So
Exactly.
these beings they come and go all the time here. Excuse me. So it started, everything always started small, especially when I was young. It was like partying and taking LSD and taking mushrooms and ecstasy and all these different things. And for me, it was the party scene it didn't feel right that was a place for that stuff. And come to find out later on that when going into ceremonies using mushrooms or LSD was the beginning. It was really truly the beginning of understanding the connection to all these things. It helped to put some of the puzzle pieces in place that I didn't understand, at the beginning, where I'm just sitting holding a Bible going, how come these answers keep popping up? Like, that was exactly what I needed. How come that is? How come this is happening?
Well, I can vouch, on a personal level, although I didn't participate. I have to say that, and then there's a lot to be said for, and it's not for everybody, but a conscious ceremonial intent with what you're talking about. But I actually witnessed you guiding a couple of individuals on mushrooms, plant medicine. And I got to tell you, and I spoke to them afterwards. I ran into them afterwards when they were, quote unquote, coming down. And I have never, I was the best guidance I'd ever seen anybody give to somebody that was, going down that road. So you're speaking from experience, and I witnessed it.
Yeah. There's things that in like Lakota and other, even in Greek and these other all these different cultures that understand the wheel itself. The Mayans, all of the times, the things that they use are wheel structure. But the wheel goes all the way down. I mean, it goes down to nano, right? It goes. I mean, it's just but the wheels, they are circular, and that what we call sequence and consequence, right?
Hmm.
Uh, even when we call it consequence, the language that people use a lot of times when they think consequence, they think something, you did something bad, so
Right.
something bad's going to happen. But in language, con means like in Greek and in Latin, it means with sequence,
With.
right? So if it's going to be, if you do something, this is what we call karma. If you do something, it is in sequence and in line with the path that you chose to walk on, and doing something to harm other people to. It's we call it law of attraction these days too. But it's all the same thing. It's the wheel, because it comes back. What comes around goes around. Yeah, just like our seasons. So when you start to expand out and you think about just the day or the week or the month, and then the season, the year, then the seasons, start thinking about these things like, and what they all represent. And you start to focus, like this is what the Mayans focused on, was down to the minute,
Yeah.
down to the second. The moment that you're born, they already know what kind of person you're going to be. So that's the mathematics is part of what they call the dream spell. So they would go to these people that knew that math, which is you're talking about big math.
Right.
And they would go, yeah, that person's going to be, this child is going to be like this. It's going to be like this. It's going to grow up like this. And then they dove into, because that's the self. And then there's the universal self, higher self. And that's the universal time. So the higher self time is, it's a different mathematic. So
Right.
that's your true or your truest math. And then they have the unified. When you bring those two together, you do the math with that. Then you start to understand that at different times, instead of living in fate, which is that time that you were born, the person you're going to be, you're going to be a screw up, you're going to be this, you're going to be clumsy with this different math at different times. They say, well, this portal, if you do this and you walk this way, and then when this portal opens for you, then it will change.
Right.
Your path. It will change who you are. It will change what you'll have more freedom versus being stuck as just that being that you were born into.
Yeah. That resonates.
That's what we see with most of the people now.
Yeah, that resonates a lot. It's like a choice point. And when you're talking about that math, like this incarnation, it reminds me of one of those algebraic equations, like where it'll have like x equals brackets at the top, a plus b, and then a line because it's a fraction, x to the second power. I mean, like that, like the a plus b and the bracket on the top, on the what do you call it, the top of the fraction is like this incarnation, but then the universal equation is the whole thing, right?
Yes.
So it's like like listening to you, which I love doing. It's like I guess it's a conscious awareness. Like I'm bigger than this a plus b, and you step out of it and you start to be able to utilize. To me, it's a great kind of a metaphorical image. Yeah,
I try to keep things simple for and digestible for people, to use metaphor in a way that's where that they can break it down and understand it. Because a lot of people I was in this space where I needed help and I didn't know how to get it. And finally I just said it out loud into the air. I was like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I don't have guidance. I don't know how to use, and I wanted to heal, but I didn't have teachers. I didn't know that there was even healing modalities. And so after I did that, it was almost instant when I found my tribe.
Right.
And I was like, wow, and it just happened every time I move away from a different tribe. I'd find a different tribe. I'd find a new tribe, and it would be different representations of different things for me in that time. And so I'm at the point now where I understand my movement, like what I need to do to move into power. And when you reach, like I said, those when you start reaching pro and advanced levels of understanding, then I have to trust the universe, what they call the giveaway. The giveaway is how, the plants and things that give,
Yeah.
that they give it away freely. They don't ask for anything in return. So that is something that happens in nature. The exchange though is still there. The animals eat fruit, and then they eat the seeds, and then the seeds travel through them, and then this all of a sudden they have offspring somewhere else, and then this it grows.
Yeah.
But how did that plant, how did that tree, how did it know that it could travel through an animal stomach and not be destroyed by the acids in the stomach? Because that's nature working together. Its intelligence is its intelligence as one whole. It's not the plant that has to think about that. It's nature that works together.
Yeah.
That shows at where we're at as humans. Now when we don't work together, when we don't commune together to see eye to eye, as to put our mind aside and put our hearts together, then we tend to go, okay, well, you're you and I'm me, and I have needs, and you have needs, and you got to do this, and so a lot of the spiritual community included was still working out a lot of those the finite details of coming together, versus I do for you, you do for me, and living in that karma, or the dogmatic old system. But it's like anything else, it needs to be practiced, it needs to be expressed, and it needs to be walked.
Yeah, you have to engage it. I mean, like I can look at my like my own experience with let's just say with what we call abundance, which is more than just money, right? I've realized, and this has taken time, but it's gotten broader and broader. In other words, it's become more of a I don't want to say immediate, reciprocation or an immediate manifestation, but it's pretty close, and it's getting closer and closer. And I've heard other people talk about it, but what I'm talking about is engaging it. So say, somebody, a lot of times it'll happen when we might see somebody in need, and we might not have, but a couple $100, $300 or something, and we send over $100.
Yeah.
Like there's a part of you up here that's going, don't do that, like, or don't go over here because it's going to cost money, or don't do that because you don't have the money. But there's something that I've seen working, and you mentioned magic, and so you just do it, right? Mm-hmm. And 24 hours, 36 hours later, you send out 100 and you get $333 back or something, right? I mean, it's in other words, it's another metaphor. It's a literal example too, but that's the kind of thing that I think we're getting into here. And to me, at least in my own right, it doesn't grow and expand unless you engage it. That's why I look at, the situation or whatever the narratives now, and which doesn't really, I don't spend a lot of time with, but what I do find interesting is, you're talking about your journey, like from 1819, we all had this guidance come in, right? Like this download or successive downloads, whatever. And we started to follow it. And then people told us we were crazy. And then you get this validation by meeting Soul Tribe or meeting your partner or meeting, whatever happening. And then we get to this, we want to call it a new choice point or whatever you want to call it, a newer, consciousness or whatever. And we're faced with some programming, I see, and I've even seen it myself. You want to regress back to the old way. And I'll say to myself, why the hell would I want to, ignore the guidance that got me here in the first place? Right.
Yeah.
So it's like to continue to engage it expands what you're talking about. And which is ultimately, that synergetic set of frequencies. It's a natural thing that you're describing in terms of like the plants and the animals and so on.
Right. Because that's what they call it. They call it being fruitful. They call it being fruitful for a reason. It's funny because I'm one of my buddies just messaged me right now, and I know why he's messaging me. So I'm like, whoa, is he watching? Is he watching this? But sorry for the dead air.
No, you're good.
One of the things that I've when we're, like I said, we start playing on professional and advanced, like the universe will go, okay, you got this. How about we're gonna do this, and I would have $30, in my pocket. I got $10 in my account, and I go, I got to keep that $10 in there because they're going to take $10 out so I can keep my account open.
Right.
I got this 30. I could just, I can hang on to it, and then someone will ask me for some money.
Yeah.
And I'll go, and I was at I remember I was at Walmart one day, and this guy said, my family, we just got kicked out of our place, and we're trying to get money for a hotel.
Yeah.
And I went, yeah, hotels are kind of expensive. And I reached in my pocket. I'm like, I only have 30. And he's like, well, I don't want to take the last of your money. I'm like, it's the last of my money. I don't want you to feel guilty about it. I'm giving it to you because it makes me happy. Don't rob me of an opportunity to give. So please take it and know that I'm doing this because I know how it will benefit you, and also know that I know how it will benefit me. And he looked at me. He's like, oh, you must know something. I go, I got some experience, and if this is a test, then I'm gonna continue doing what I do the way that I do it. Because at the time, I was staying at my cousin's house. I had food in the fridge.
Yeah.
I had just gotten what I needed from the store, and this was the last of the cash I had. I was like, oh, here you go. I know I'm always taken care of.
Yeah.
And that's the test, because instead of going into survival mode, instead of going, well, come on, like universe, like I need more. Like, what more do you need? What more do you need, Ed? You got food, you got shelter, you got, good people around you. What more do you need?
Yeah.
And sometimes that's, I'm not trying to reach that level of sainthood. I'm here to advance this being.
Yeah.
And and fortunately we have a platform that we can share our stories.
Yeah.
And that's some people think, well, this guy thinks he's magic or this or that. And I go, no. We're all magic.
That's right.
We're all God. We're all powerful. When we learn to find the balance and find center, we are no longer swinging on the pendulum.
Yeah.
When you find yourself swinging on the pendulum, find your breath and be still.
Yeah. One of the things I noticed too, which I try to emulate, I guess, and that's one of the gifts of having platforms and being able to listen to these personal experiences rather than instructions out of a book or, some presentation at a seminar. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but is this need to be right.
Yeah.
Like even just like put up a poster, and it's not like say a real, like a real strong, staunch stance on anything. It's just a post. And I'm not knocking people. I mean, I'm that too, right?
Right.
They'll come in and say, well, that's, it's not like that. It's like this. And, and what I'm saying is what I've noticed, and I believe you carry this energy from my experience interacting with you over the years, is you don't have that. And I've noticed that in souls that I'll look at and say, that's something I want to take with me. In other words, just keep myself in check. If I don't know, but I notice that about, and I see more and more of that. I see more and more people saying less, and you don't see those type of individuals. You don't see, that need to be right thing, right? Because that doesn't just apply to a post. That applies to everything, right?
Yeah.
Like, like, so somebody wants to be pro this political figure or that, to be able to look at that and not, not become polarized by it, not to become separate from it, just to observe it, and even support it in the sense of allowing it to be part of the whole experience.
See, here's the thing. When I'm a jerk, I'm the best jerk I can be. And I pour it on so much, and then, and then I have to laugh at myself and go, God, man, I got, like I said, when I get swinging on that pendulum, when things just start, moving and so I'm not going to say triggered, that's not the word. Right. When things just happen and I'm reacting, and I'm angry, and there's, and then there's that little, that little angel guy over here going, you're better than that. I'm going, fuck you. Get away from me. I want to be angry right now. I'm angry. So I get angry, and then I go, okay, is this healthy or is this unhealthy? I have to think about that right away. Is this healthy anger? Is there such a thing as healthy anger? I have to explore this at the moment, and I go, there are times where it is healthy to be angry, and there's times where it's very unhealthy, and it's not valid. It's when you take a step back and you look at it, and that's when we're apologizing, going, and usually the things that I'll say is, I'm not sorry for what I said. I do apologize for how I said it, and because the way that I said it was not the way that I wanted to relay, the message, but it happened, and you have my apologies for the way that it was projected. So I'm not perfect, and I don't intend to look to be perfect. I am here to learn lessons and to grow and to learn what bigger love is. And so for me to have that experience where I am that explosive, angry, and I'm like, I'm not beating anybody, I'm not hurting anybody. I'm saying the right things, but I'm saying it the wrong way. And I'm going, okay, well, this is how I learn. This is how I grow. And not to beat myself up for it, not just to tell the other person too, hey, this is my humanity. This is something that was, instilled in me, and I get to look at it. It's showing me over and over again, something I get to look at and to grow from.
Yeah, there's a big difference between the old fallback of, well, I'm only human, to what you're saying about this is my humanity. And the other thing that I see happening too, even though things are, hang on, let me just turn that off. That was an accident. But what I was getting at is, let me pull that thread back. Oh, so I met you X years ago, right? Or, we met in person. I believe that it's hard to tell when you're in person, right? We met in person a year ago.
Yes.
So, one thing that keeps popping up for me is, I guess, a word for it would be grudges. Okay. Which, if I take that further, and I'm looking at this energetically, and I'm just using that word, to try to help people understand where I'm coming from, my experience, like where I'm headed in my growth, there's no room for grudges. Like there's no room for labeling somebody, which is judging somebody, from what happened a year ago or 2 years ago. Or you're not the same person you were when we met and we got together and did that show a year ago. I'm not the same person. And there's something about this mutual respect, honor, reverence, love, whatever you want to call it, because that we've all had, in our humanity, in this incarnation or set of incarnations, that frequency of what the hell, of narcissism.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay for me, but not for you.
Right.
You're that, but I'm not that, which is how you started the show, right? And so there's something about being able to convey that or practice that externally, although we know it has to happen here first, right? But I mean, there's something about that. And I think that we're having to get to a point now where this is one of the steps we're going to have to take in like what you said about the different levels, pro, advanced, in terms of embodiment. And you think that as we progress, that there's less of a human, in the trenches kind of thing, but there actually is more.
Yeah.
Like you put your money where your mouth is, what I mean?
And that's the truth of it. It's if just knowing, okay, right here, good example, drinking out of a plastic bottle, knowing that there's particulates of plastic in this, right? And you consume about so many pounds of plastic a year. And I go, yeah, I know. I do know that.
Yeah.
I watched a guru once on this video, and I cannot find it again. I cannot find this video. This guru had some mercury on a spoon, and he had this paste, and he puts the mercury in the paste with his fingers. He puts it in there, and he mixes it up, and then he eats it. With that, he goes, "This amount of mercury will kill anyone." And he said, "This paste that we made neutralizes the mercury." What? Wait, what? Is that it neutralized the mercury? Are you sure? You could die. but somehow he made a paste that neutralizes mercury. And he was saying, we have to understand what we are is beyond the mind of what we think that we are.
Yeah.
And I went, wow. And then I found
Say that again.
We are beyond the mind. We are beyond the mind, because what we think we are is what we actually are. So if we are susceptible to colds, if we're susceptible to car crashes or twisting ankles, then that becomes, because that is the mind. The mental sphere is around. It's part of our our chakras are here, but our energetic body is around us. It's huge. It's about the size of a football field.
Yeah.
So if in the mental sphere is static, like the static that we used to have on the old TVs, it's static. Yeah. So what it does is it collects the static energy of our mind, or of our brain, of what we believe, or what and we're actually choosing to believe. So like I said, when people are like, well, if you do this, and that's it's not PBC or PCB bottle, that there's harmful toxins in there. Go, yes, maybe. I don't say no, you're wrong, because maybe. And they're like, what do you mean maybe? I go, well, it depends on maybe for you. Maybe it's harmful for you, maybe it's harmful for me, but I don't believe that it's harmful for me. I don't believe. I don't believe. What I believe is, it's not that it can't hurt me. I believe that my body is stronger. When I believe in my body, and I believe in my immune system, and I believe that this thing takes care of itself, because I don't have to take care of it. My heart beats on its own, and lungs breathe. I'm not doing it. It's just automatic. I get a cold. It does this amazing job. It digests food. It does all this cool. It creates skin. It's just such a beautiful. But it's
not to mention that, absolutely, and not to mention that we're alchemists. I mean, we're just talking about what you were just saying. You were saying, well, that might be true for you, but it's not true for me. I go through this. Mm-hmm. Somebody says something, it's not registering with me. Somebody says to me, if you do that, this is going to happen, or this is a condition in your body, because of these symptoms or something. I just say, that's not my deal. Look, the placebo effect is not just a literal reality. It's an energetic truth. And it's exactly what you're talking about. That's about what the program, the belief system is, which is interesting too, because it's kind of weird because there's such a paradox, right? Like we came into this incarnation, we had every memory swipe, we all know the drill, and we start to be indoctrinated with these belief systems. Then we start to wake up and go, oh, wait a minute, let me take that one off. But a lot of our journey has been taking one belief system and replacing it with one that's broader. And now that's moving us towards that light you were talking about at the beginning of the show, but it's still a belief system. It's still limited, So it's interesting. And I think about this a lot, like if and very recently, actually, with a lot of the energetic changes, and I wanted to ask you about this. I want to make sure that I touched on this with you because I want to hear your perspective. But anyway, just getting back to this to close it out, I've been thinking over the last few 2, 3, 4 months, hey, wait a minute. Let me get this straight. This is just my self-talk. I'm a supernatural, eternal soul. I'm limitless. I'm in a physical body in an experiment, in an adventure, and an exploration of potential in a physical realm with extreme polarity. What the F can I actually do here?
Right.
I've already seen evidence of self-healing. I've seen evidence in others and myself of many things. There's telepathies, there's synchronicities, there's all this stuff. How far can we take it? How can I ratchet this thing up by that same system? And of course, I'm blessed to be with someone who is a programmer, a deprogrammer, reprogrammer, in dealing with energy. But yeah, this truth that you're talking about in terms of what you will allow into your field, and having the respect, because if you take that on, it's a reality. But by the same token, what if I strengthen and fortify and expand my belief system, for lack of a better description, in terms of what I really believe I am? I don't know. This is, and it can't just be limited to me. I mean, this has got to be something that's available in this expanded consciousness as we get into 2021.
Here's how I actually, when I think about, we have seasons. We have 4 seasons, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what do they represent? Winter represents death.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the trees actually don't die. The grass actually doesn't die. It goes into this different transformation, right? But winter represents death. Spring represents growth, new growth, right? The summer, it represents the time to bask in the sun. It's the hottest day, hottest time of the year, and and the autumn is a time for reflection and time for gathering, of all of these different expressions and experiences. Those are also choices that we can make. So, if somebody starts saying, if you keep smoking, it's going to kill you, I'm like, that person's in their winter. Somebody goes, that's the cigarette smoke. We smoke the tobacco to the spirit. It goes, they're in their spring.
Yeah.
And that's the celebration. It's it's the expression of their belief.
Yeah.
They're not thinking this is good for you. It's not bad for you. Yeah. We know people that are 100 years old. They've made it to 100.
And then there's these people who, by many people in these communities' definition, is not awake. Right. I've seen it happen a lot with couples. We'll have typically the woman will come on. Hey, are you in a relationship? Yeah, I've been in this relationship for 15 years. My husband's awake, but he's not awake. And they describe this person, this energy, which I've seen many, many times. We all have, where they're just in sync. They're just in flow. Their energy is relaxed and natural, and I want to say confident without taking the extreme of the word, but they just have this cadence, and it's, I don't know, it's just It's amazing. There's something really crazy happening. Morgan keeps calling me on the phone, and she's not even standing next to the phone. She keeps talking to me. Hey, I wanted to ask you because you really brought something up that I thought was really interesting. Because I know you, I know how humble you are, and I know how honest you are. I mean, what you see is what you get with Eddie. And I'll just tell you, if you meet him in person, it's just like this.
But I'll
Right?
tell you this too. I'll tell people this. I am honest. I am brutally honest. But if there are some things that I don't think that you need to know, I won't tell you. I'll just be like,
That's how the universe works too, right?
right, exactly.
We'll point you to the water, but you're not going to make you drink it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So you mentioned early that you had a time. I'll just set it up. You had a time where you said, "I already thought of myself as androgynous," and then you were talking about a further experience down the linear path, and you kind of leveled up again, right? Which is common for a lot of the aspects of our journey. There's a lot of talk about, obviously, over the last few years, masculine and feminine. You did a great, kind of a summation of that at the top of the show in terms of your own experience. We know at some point that's going to come together, right? I mean, how that works, I don't know.
It's already here.
Yeah, of course. We saw it in Sedona in September, October. But in terms of like your own experience, I'm just curious because there was a lot of talk about, obviously in the first few years, when I say first few years, I'm talking like 2014, 15, 16, the feminists landed. We know this is an energetic explanation, not so much, directed at the physical incarnation's gender, but there is some, parallels to it. But anyway, at the end of this year, I'd say maybe beginning from the summer, there was a lot of talk about the divine masculine energy rising, especially the last 2 or 3 months.
Absolutely.
Have you, in your own experience, and if not in what you've observed in the field, have you seen something to that effect? And what do you see as being the product of it?
I feel that that a lot of people, because it has been. It's been rising in women. A lot of women are starting to stand in their masculine energy, which is it's father energy, and a lot of women over the last 50 years have been rising into that because of single family, having to raise their kids on their own, and having to take on the masculine role, and so they've actually taken on more masculine traits, and that's not a bad thing. It's that's nature doing its thing inside of us. And did you ever hear the story about the man that actually his wife died and they had a brand new baby, and he was sitting there and he was just distraught, and then he just started put the baby to his and actually his body changed, and his body actually transformed. And I'm not saying he grew breasts, but he started lactating. His body responded to this child, and it was something that is unexplainable. That science can't explain it. There are like things like fish and like certain asexual, or not even asexual, but certain animals, fish. I know there's one fish that when I was a kid went to the aquarium. This fish would change sexes when there wasn't enough males or females to balance out. They would actually change sex. Wow. I don't know if it went from female to male or male to female, but they changed sex to balance it out so they could grow their population.
Yeah.
So the understanding of this rising of the masculine energy is the good father. The father energy is, is the roots. The womb. The womb is a different energy. That's the 0 point energy to create. 0 is the the place where 1, 2, 3, 4 is born.
Yeah.
And that's how everything is born, is through 0 point. But the masculine energy is the roots. It is the atom.
Yeah.
It is Adam. We are Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Made of atoms, and that's the masculine energy that holds everything together. The feminine energy is the dancer. We are the dance. They are the dancer. So they're the one. When you take psychedelics, or if you don't even need them, but you go into those realms and you see all the movement of color and, you know, this divine stuff, you go, that is the masculine, and that's the feminine energy, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
That's the feminine energy of potentiality.
Yeah.
Because in all potential, it doesn't have, you know, it just came out, it comes from 0 point. So it has no bias. It has no judgment. It becomes an ant, fly, human, whale, water. It just becomes, but it comes into the atom, you know, the atom and the Eve come together and become a physical form.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's, you know, and it's funny because there's so many people that have asked me, what's the difference between a soul and a spirit? And I go, well, the spirit is the all spirit. The soul is the individualized,
Yeah.
you know, thing, the thing that's inside of us that has that consciousness. Well, where does it come from? And I go, it's right there. It comes from the sun. We are, and the sun is a star. We are, our soul is a star being. It's a light being. Everybody says light being. And I go, well, where do we get our sustenance? We get it from our star that's right above us.
Yeah.
So when people say, when we die, where do, you know, they see the light. I go, yeah, you're seeing the sun through different eyes because you don't have human eyes to visualize that anymore. Now it's just this, like, it's just there, and we go to that. We go back to the sun, and that's where we go. Our soul, our individualized souls, goes out into the universe and goes out everywhere, and we can go to become different things and different, you know, and it's with that feminine energy that it can become anything. We can become anything. Yeah. You know, like they say, a shot in the dark. You know,
a shot in the dark.
Yeah, taken out to
it's the bottomless reservoir. You know,
beautiful. Yeah,
I like that picture that you paint. That's the way I see it too. It's like, you know, it's like this. I used to call it, when I first started writing, holy darkness, the mother, the holy darkness. You know, and you're in the holy darkness, and for me, it was just like you were saying earlier at the beginning of the show, like that space where you're like, what do I do? You know, what, you know, and all those questions come up, and I just would hear, create your way out, create your way out, you know, and it's like art, I guess. You know, I know you're a DJ and an artist in other ways too, the jewelry, but it's like, to me, it's both inspiration and manifestation. Or somehow they're where they cross, you know, but it's the inspiration that divine love, right? And then the creation, right? Yeah.
Inspire. You know, it's our, you know, that's we either spiral up or we spiral down, you know, but either way we inspire. We inspire up or we inspire down. Yeah. You know, so that's when they say misery loves company. That's when we're on the downward spiral. We're inspiring others, you know, when in our own, and so usually, like with people that are on those spirals, I go, you know, there is no heaven or hell.
Right
now you're feeling like you're in hell because you're spiraling down.
Right.
But I'm spiraling up. So if you want to, you know, because misery loves company, so, you know, come this way. And it's like, no, why don't you come this way? You know, my friend, he gave me the story of, he says, maybe we were wrong about the story about Jesus going out to the desert and meeting the devil. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, maybe it was a trap. And I was like, what do you mean a trap? He's like, well, because he went out there and then the devil appeared, and he said that that the devil was tempting Jesus. And he goes, I don't think that's right. He's like, I think Jesus went out there and waited for the devil. So when the devil appeared to tempt him, he goes, no, come this way. Oh, wow, yeah. And the devil went, what? What? Wait, no. I'm supposed to be the one doing the tempting.
I like that. We were talking too before the show. I just said, hey, what are you up to? Where you at? And you said, I'm where I'm at, you know, for the time being.
Mm.
And this is another thing that I'm seeing. It seemed like around 12/12, everybody went into a lull.
Mm.
Everybody was like turtle in the shell, and just hibernating and in that universal isolation. And there's been this, and it's not just me and Morgan. I mean, you even talked about it when we talked before the show, but there's like this slow rising of movement.
Mm.
Like and I know you've experienced that. I've experienced that because we've talked about it over the years. We've both kind of been nomadic and following that guidance when you get the directions, but it feels like there's this burgeoning, energy of movement, whatever that means. And of course, we know at this stage of the game, it's far more than just literal, in terms of the physical movement. But can you speak to that a little bit? I mean, like, how do you know when it's time to go? How do you know where to go? I mean, how does it come to you? I'm just curious because you've been pretty active in that lifestyle.
Well, I like poetry.
Hmm.
Ever since I was a kid, I used to love poetry. So life is poetic. If you read enough poetry, you start to feel the author and what they're actually trying to convey, or to feel what was in their heart and in their mind at the moment that they were expressing on paper. And when you can catch that, it tends to show you. It's like looking at art, like a painting, or listening to a sonata, and when you hear the music and you go, oh, I can feel that. I can feel what the person was feeling the moment that they were writing that. I mean, it has a tone.
Yeah.
So in the poetic part of life it'll give me a nice little nudge. And then, it's funny because I was living in Mount Shasta. I was growing mushrooms and I was like living this like nice plush little life. I was like, everything's coming together. And then in Mount Shasta, sitting around going, yeah, I was thinking about going to Hawaii. And then you could look at my phone and this Hawaii pops up, and then someone else is going, I think about going to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I have no business in Hawaii. What? And then so I was like, I'm gonna listen. So I put all my stuff, I've got my nice little apartment, I'm on my own. I'm living. I love the people there and the place. And I was like, damn it. And so I put my stuff in storage, got a tent, put in a backpack, I put all my stuff, and I'm sitting on the beach and it's raining, and I'm going, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here. So whatever this means, or whatever's supposed to happen, just, and then it just played out.
That's
It
right.
played itself out. Like I had gotten injured. I had a knee injury for almost a year. It was about a year when I left Shasta that I was trying to work out this injury. And I was healed pretty good. But then I'm sitting on the beaches and I'm going, it's been a year. So what's going on? And then all of a sudden I get a call from the what do they call the workers' comp? I get a call.
Yeah.
And they're like, we want you out of our hair. We're going to make you an offer. We need you to offer us a money amount first. And I go, what? Like, what do you mean money amount? They're like, we want to release you of our liability. And so basically what we're going to do is we're going to sue ourselves. We're going to hire you a lawyer and to sue us for you. And then you get paid. And I go, wait. Okay, so I did the math, and then they were like, well, what would it take? And I said, $1 million. They said, that's not going to happen. I said, I know, but you're liable for my knee for the rest of my life, and I want to release you of my liability, but I don't want to get, I'm not going to start low. You told me to start with a number, so there's a number. So you give me a number back, and they offered me 3 years pay, and to go to school. And I went, well, that I didn't want to be on disability, so I didn't want that label.
Right.
Got out of that, and so just hearing this whole Hawaii thing, and I was like, what are you trying to tell me? So it's these little things that keep popping up over and over again to, come this way, come
Yeah.
this, because it also works on the other side of it where it's come this way. They had somebody reach out to me and they were telling me, you shouldn't follow this person. This person's bad. They're evil. They're out of integrity. You should follow this person, and so on and so on. And they were saying that they were like this higher being. And I said, well, first off, if you were a higher being, then you wouldn't be talking trash about anybody. You would actually just go, here's some wisdom, some knowledge that's going to lead me towards something higher. That's what I look for. I don't look for people that have, want to slander other people and then say that they're a higher being.
Are they channeling that information?
Right.
Yeah. That was a little scary into last year. You start seeing a lot of that,
Oh, and I saw a lot of that.
I observe it. I mean, I'm just like, I'm like you. If it's a higher being, it's going to have a higher intelligence, it's going to see beyond, from the perspective that we had, from a human only perspective. Let's put it that way.
That's right. You bring that up, Todd, and I was wondering, I was going to ask you this, and I'm glad you were talking about this. Have you been given your spirit name? Have you been given a spirit name?
Have I? Have I been given a spirit name?
Yeah.
When I first woke up,
I
was given a name, and I was given it's when I was given the name Soulogy too. I was actually given that name Soulogy. I looked it up and didn't exist, but I was given a name back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah. So I tell people, if you want to talk to Eddie, you're going to get Eddie talk.
Mm-hmm.
The spirit name that I was given was Heart's Fire.
Yeah.
But I know that's not my spirit name. I know that's what that name did was teach me how to walk down that road to understand. Here's the heart. Here's the there's this chakra, and then right in the middle of the diamond light that they call it is also when you see the flaming heart of when Jesus is holding. That's that next gate before what is spoken, the universe, the verse, the things that we speak into existence is the gate, the fire, or what they call the diamond light. And I was like, Heart's Fire. I didn't know anything about any of that stuff when I was given this name. And so it really helped me. It helped me to understand that gate and to understand the responsibility from the heart to the next major gate, to the tone. So when people talk to me, I'll give you, I'll talk to you, I'll listen. But if you want to talk to the higher self, that being's name is Heart's Fire. You when you call me and ask for Heart's Fire, and Eddie steps out.
Yeah.
And that higher self that we all are steps in and speak to that being, because I'm an idiot.
Well, I love the way you describe that, with the name, because it's very similar to how it happened for me too. I didn't see it so much as a name. Of course, when you first get information like that, you're like, oh, this is who I am,
Yeah.
But once you kind of land on your feet, so mine was heart, mind, and then basically I'd have to use the term spirit, but not spirit like you were using it, more like spirit projection, a lot like what you were talking about, and even being told, because it doesn't always come in, like a stenographer, right? But it was like saying to me, so it's like it was the heart, mind, and then here in the middle was shown to me in images like everything you write, everything you say, and not like, oh, we're keeping score, but like those who come behind you, this is the new good book that they're going to learn from this, and that includes all your messages to people. That includes all your, everything, right. And so that's interesting that you say it that way, because you're not hung up on it. No. You're not attached to it. It's information and code that's imprinted on you, and this is how it was given to you, and this is how you give it. And I like the way that you say, because if you look at Morgan's a practitioner, and I've talked to different practitioners, and that's what they do. They open their field, and it's totally surrender. And then I guess the client does it to whatever degree they can, but it's really a higher self to higher self type of field of potential, which is, she She is. I was, probably like 400 shows, it would have been like 3 or 4 years ago or whatever. She told me one day, because I would have these experiences of energy, and it was the person I was engaging. And I didn't really, she goes, why don't you connect to their higher self before the show? So I'd started that practice, a long time ago. And it's a whole different, it's a whole different experience. Not only that, but like everything else, the skill level, the experience level ascends as well, because you keep going back and you get better and better and better.
Right. There's well, I was talking to a friend before, and he was younger, and he was a little cocky about his responses when I had said that we are animals. And he said, no, we're not animals. Like we're different. We're something different. And I looked at him and I said, are you sure? Are you sure we're not animals? And he looked at me and I was like, hey, you're going to stick to your guns? He said, yeah. So I said, all right, well, do you know what animal means? AL at the end of it is pertaining to enemy or animus.
Yeah.
Is spirit or breath. So you're telling me you're not spirit or breath?
Yeah.
He goes, I didn't know it meant that. I thought you meant like the animals, like the creatures. I go, yeah, they're the same thing.
Yeah.
they're animals too. We're animals. I'm also you have one of the things that when we understand that we are animals, we are the breath. We are spirit. One of the what is that? Animus that's Latin, right? Animus memori.
Yeah.
Remember your spirit, remember your breath. When we start to remember this, that primal gate is our first gate.
Yeah.
Our first chakra is our primal chakra, and that's the gate that leads to the higher. The energy goes up, it comes out and back around, and but if we don't remember that we are animals, or that we are the animus, we have to remember our spirit, remember our breath, that we are the breath. And that's where the connections are so much easier when we, because you breathe in from the belly, you're breathing in from the lowest part of your body that you can, and then you let it out, and then you're connecting over and over again. You're building that energy, that energetic field, right? Over and over again, you're getting it spinning, you're getting it flowing. And that's when like I said, the eye of God, when we start to look at it, I don't see Todd Medina anymore. I don't see the label. I move beyond that, and then I see the man, and then I look into the eyes, and then I see the soul, and then I move. When we connect, when we're in trust and in love, then we become the spirit. We are the spirit, and we move into these higher realms together. But we always start with the animus. We start from the beginning. We start from the animal that we are, the animal spirit. And when we cannot accept this, then we don't open our gate, and we don't open ourselves to ourselves.
That's right. Oneness is oneness, and separation is separation. There is no middle ground. This is getting interesting. Hey, I want to before we get out of here, I want to make sure that we because I can talk to you forever. We know that. I mean, but I got another show coming up, and but I wanted to make sure that we cover the bases with you, your availability, what you're doing, that type of thing. Let me just make a quick announcement real quick. I'll put up a post here in a little bit, but tonight we're gonna Morgan's the unicorn's coming out tonight. We're gonna be on Awakening Code Radio, which is on the Spreaker.com platform. KXFM radio out of LA, Laguna Beach. The Middle Path is the program, but I'll post it up on our pages. I just want to let everybody know that that's going to be at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 Central. So that's 8 Pacific, and you can figure the rest of it out. But I wanted to ask you, because I know I know who you are, and you're out there getting it done every single day. And you have been, as long as I've known you before that. And that's not an easy path. It's probably another show we could do for 2 hours, how do you navigate when the spirit calls and tells you where to go, and you're sitting on the beach with a tent and it's raining on you, right? But I know you do some jewelry. I have a feeling you probably do some session work. How can people find you? What do you have available? How can we support you? Really is what I'm saying.
Thank you. Yeah, just go to my Facebook page. I have some pictures of some jewelry that I have. I have a lot of silver, 95 silver jewelry gemstones. I have some. I probably have one of the most eclectic, jewelry that I mean, stones that you probably would be really hard to find it in other places. In jewelry, so pendants and rings. I also make jewelry wire wrap. You can find me on Facebook. Add me as a friend. I'm also on Instagram at heartsfired_1111.
Heartsfire?
Heartsfire. Heartsfire _1111.
Oh, underscore. Hang on.
Or Eddie
I'm
Hinsley.
going to put this out on all the platforms where we have the opportunity.
Oh, sure.
That's on Instagram?
That's on Instagram, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or just reach me. Like I said, contact me directly on your messages. Like you said, like Todd said, I'm going to be traveling again soon. I'm going to be going to Southern California. Go hang out with my cousin for a little bit. I may have to go back to Hawaii to handle some stuff out there. Check out my property. It's been a year. I haven't been out there in a year, so I need to go see how things are flowing out there. There's also some stuff that I want to grab. I'm like, oh, I need my stuff.
I just want to say too, I'm not a big jewelry person. I'm not really. I'm ambivalent. It's not. But I got to tell you, some of his stuff is really incredible. You did I guess it was an Eye of Horus. You did recently. That was, huh?
This is one of the Eye of Horus. This is Eye of Horus.
Wow, that's pretty cool, man.
And that's amethyst facet. And then this one is Eye of Ra, and that's a carnelian.
Wow. Now, is that a pendant or like something you hang on a necklace?
It's a pendant.
Wow.
I'll put a loop on there, and then I'll put a necklace on it.
Right on.
So, yeah, so you got one. Oh no, those are the same ones. I'm sorry, hold on. Let me show you one before we go. One more. This is the Eye of Horus, because those are both the Eye of Ra.
Okay.
Sorry about that. There you go. So now you got
one
way and one the other.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
So it's polarity. One's, this is moon energy. This is sun energy.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, his stuff's amazing. So you say you got pictures of that on your Facebook?
I do, and I make other pendants and other things. And like I said, I have almost any kind of gemstone you can think of really in stock for that are already made pendants in silver.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Far out, man. I hope I get to see you soon. I'll leave it at that. And
if that wind blows in this direction, I'll be seeing you soon.
That's right. Yeah, I'm going to find out here pretty quick, so I'll get back to you.
Yeah, love to collaborate when you get here too.
I would love to do that. We can maybe hook up with Jeremy again, go to that church and plug in and give it hell, right? All right, brother.
All right,
yeah, been too long. I'm sure I'll be seeing you soon.
All right, yeah. Well, if not, then I'll reach out to you and start blowing up your phone. Like, come on, hey, where you at? Let's talk.
All right, brother. I'll see you later.